4th down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it, incomplete. The Buckeyes win.
Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making the judgments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Saul, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Saul coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards. Here they come. Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. And Smith, he's got it. Jeremiah Smith. 2025 college football national champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation. With Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. What is up, Buckeye Backers? Just another week and another undefeated season upon us. 10-0, the first. Oh, wait. Ohio State's been 10-0 33 times, making it a Big Ten record. Solid. Beat the Bruins down. I know they didn't have their starting quarterback, but you know what? They did what they're supposed to do. We didn't have our two starting wideouts. And at the beginning, Sayin was still on fire, man. 18 of 21, 147 yards for the first half. That's where I really wanted to start, man. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. I think both of these are hamstring injuries. Have you heard anything otherwise?
No. You said Smith and Tate. I haven't really heard anything outside.
Yeah. I mean, you saw
you with it.
Smith kind of limping on the end at the end of the game or in the middle of the game when he came out and didn't return back, and you heard he was questionable before the game. But man, having our two wideouts still, Julian Sayin seemed to be like he was on fire. 18 of 21, he was hitting all the other targets. Bryson Rogers looked good out there. It's good to see him catching the ball. Good to see him showing out and making the most of opportunities. And then Ennis was all over the place. It looked like most of the time Sayin was forcing it to Ennis, and Ennis was covered but still making the catches and just barely squeaking one in a window, which was awesome to see. But then the second half, things kind of turned around a little bit. Those first two drives, Sayin was overthrowing guys or reading a route that, maybe someone should. I think it was Graham that should have run a deep ball, but he didn't, or throwing it to Graham when, someone else could have been open. I think it was Ennis. He threw it to the end zone, actually, wasn't it? On that fade. When there could have been someone else open. It looked like there was two slants that were open instead. So the safety went over with Ennis, and then he still hit Ennis on that touchdown pass, which would have been a touchdown pass long. And Ennis is what, 5'10"?
I do not have that stat.
I think
you're already audibling on me. He's listed as 6 foot, so you're probably talking 5'10" in reality.
Yeah. And so you have guys that are bigger. Bryson Rogers running that slant that was wide open, could have been a touchdown there. I think they ended up with a field goal. Just little things like that. Your timing's off a little bit when you have the second teamers in there. You don't have the starting studs in there where you're used to throwing the ball up in the air and they make big plays. That timing, where to get the ball, the windows, what the guys are going to run. It like football is one of those things where reps determine how you play. And they had the reps with the starters. Then you go back to the second string guys and things look a little wonky, right?
They should naturally, to your point. You're not getting those reps, you're not getting the timing down with the second stringers. And that's where games like these can be really valuable because you never know what's going to happen in December where somebody does tweak a hamstring or somebody does have to sit out a second half. You got to step up and step in. And it's not that these players could not execute. Again, it's a lot about timing, especially on these 3-step, even 5-step drops. So I think these are good reps. And honestly, if you go into next week, I'm purely speculating, right? But let's say Tate and Smith sit out next week just as a abundance of caution. I don't see any problem getting more reps to Rodgers and Graham and Porter for that matter. Get them lathered up, ready to go for December.
Yeah. Good reps, right? If you're getting these second teamers reps, that's what we need. We need to see some of that, right? I can get some of these up here too instead of. So StreamYard's doing something new, and you can put the comments down here in the small right-hand corner of the screen, but you can hardly read that. I'll keep them up there just to see what you guys think, but it's almost worthless to have them up there. But Doug, yeah, podcasters are definitely apologizing to James Peoples. I saw James Peoples in spring. I saw what he could do, and you saw those flashes of excellence then. Obviously, it wasn't contact, so it was a little bit different. There was a little bit of contact here and there. But, man, that hurdle, holy hell. And he's starting to shine. He's breaking tackles now. Sometimes it takes guys just a little bit to get into the groove of things. I mean, when you're a first-time starting running back, you got to learn the plays, number one, and you got to feel comfortable. You got to feel comfortable to stop thinking and start reacting. Maybe that's the case with Peoples. I think it probably is, but he's coming on and he's looking good. Maybe he just needed pushed. Was there to push him.
That was my first thought. Iron sharpens iron, right? And
yep.
I think maybe you come in July and you're RB1, and now you're sitting here mid-November and you're maybe RB3, maybe situationally RB3, but maybe RB4 when it's all really said and done. And so I think that was it, because you're starting to see over the last few weeks, some of the knocks on Peoples were, one hit and going down, not breaking through contact, not really getting the ball down the field the way they wanted them to. And we certainly saw that quite a bit in the last couple weeks. I allude back to last week where he was not going down after initial contact. He was fighting for additional yards. And last night, the holes were pretty open, but he certainly demonstrated his athleticism last night as well, too. So this could be a case where maybe we did write him off, or maybe he looked in the mirror and said, I got to be better. And he's starting to show it.
And I think that's exactly what it was. It had to be a combination, right? He's feeling more comfortable. He's breaking tackles now, which he wasn't earlier, which makes me think he was thinking more, right? Like I'm thinking about the plays, like I'm thinking about what I need to be doing instead of just reacting and playing the game. To me, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe it took some pressure off him.
For sure. Now it's just play the game of ball like Instead, after the Texas game, James Peoples was being impatient and not waiting for his blocks to develop. I saw a little bit of that, but it was not fighting through arm tackles too. It seemed like he was going down on first contact always, and he's fighting through it now. I'm jumping over people. My goodness, that was the best hurdle I think I've ever seen. He got some air for sure, and the dude still was trying to tackle him, even though he's through his legs. He was like, I don't know what just happened to me, but the dude disappeared. Yeah, he jumped over your ass.
It was an impressive display of that athleticism. I'll say that.
Yeah, and we love seeing Peoples do well along with Rodgers. It's great to have backups because you're going to need it. When you start getting in the strength of the schedule, I mean, you're going against the best teams in the nation. Georgia looks like they're turning it on at the right time. Maybe that's just Texas faltering, but I think Georgia's the team to mess with. It looks like now. I mean, you still have Indiana, obviously. It's hard to say Indiana is going to give Ohio State a game, but I think they will. I think that they're built for it. It's just their problem is going to be depth in the long run. I don't think that they've recruited and transfer portaled well enough to have depth like Ohio State's going to have.
I completely agree with that. I think the slightest injury you see with Indiana, they're not going to be able to overcome that. And yeah, they played some tough games, but we all saw what happens in late November, December it's a whole different ball game. And so if you don't have that depth or people got to be out, you're going to need people to step up. Now they have missed Surratt the last few weeks, and the wide receiving core has stepped up. So you can refute that depth argument right there. But I think it's a little bit easier at the skill positions. We'll see what they have if anything else goes down. But you're going to start playing in cold weather. You're going to, well, not anymore really by and large for them if they get a bye. But you're going to see some tougher opponents, and you're going to see people get tweaked a lot more than maybe they would have. So I think depth is really important for all these teams moving forward. I think Ohio State and Georgia has it. We'll see with Indiana.
Yeah. Oh, man. Emily's bringing the goods, man. His parents were hurdlers. I do remember hearing his mom was a hurdler in one of the interviews, but I forgot about it completely. So thanks for bringing that. Yeah. Obviously, he was trained how to hurdle. That's for sure. Another commit this morning. That's the other thing. Wow. I can't even keep up with all the commits. I did not see that. I mean, I was building this show and making sure my coffee was working. That's why we're a little late, because my coffee maker didn't work quite as well as I wanted it to. And I'm not doing this show without coffee. Not this early in the morning.
I'm glad you're telling everybody that you were the reason, not the guy who wakes up at 6:30 a.m. to do this.
Hey, everyone's got to give you round of applause. Round of applause.
Every week for you all.
Every week. Sunday morning during football season, Seattle Matt wakes his ass up and gets on the stage just to talk football with me. Just gotta love it.
That's what I'm here for, buddy.
So who was this commit? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, can we get that in the comments? I'd like to see that.
Yeah, if you know it, tell me, because I did not know of that. Go ahead.
No, but I'm curious your thoughts. You know, again, this was a game. You went out and executed your game plan, right? We're going to have a similar philosophy at Rutgers. We talked about it all along with this 3-game stretch: Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. What was your main takeaway, I would say, from an offensive standpoint?
Main takeaway. Well, I mean, you said it prior to the show, and that's in my head, so I can't get it out. You said balance, and now I'm like, yeah, this is the first time we rushed for 200 yards against a Power 5 team, and that was something that we really needed to see. We had a lot of big runs. Bo Jackson in goal line situations, he's legit. I don't know why we don't see more of it. I'd like to see him more. The only thing I can think of is it's just saving him reps. That's the only reason that they're taking him out in goal line stance. Isaiah West looked great. And you know who really looked good? Phillip Daniels, man. Every time I watched him, where those holes were going, where they were opening up, he was getting to the second level, making blocks. And I think right after I noticed it, they made a comment about him getting to the second level and taking a guy on one of those big runs. He looks good, man. And he was out last week, so it was good to see him back in, getting nasty and staying after it. He's one of those guys that it's until the whistle, he's hitting you and he's going after it. So it's nice to see his nastiness back.
Yeah. Well, first off, you know, I set you up to go with that, man. You don't have to be so humble and give me credit. You know, we talked about it beforehand. So, but I appreciate the honesty. But yeah, I think that was something you kind of felt throughout the game. And I didn't really check the stats of this morning, but the true balance of the fact that you had 33 rushing attempts, you had 34 passing attempts, you had 218 yards passing, 222 yards rushing. I mean, I always go back in my head, and this is a different era in college football, but Urban Meyer used to always talk 250.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that was an era where you ran up the score on everybody. You needed style points. So there was a lot more yardage. Of course, the clock stopped too after every first down. So it was a different era. You're not going to see those kind of stats all that often, but you got pretty darn close in a game like this. And that was the first thing that popped in my head, was that 250 concept. And it's nice to see them getting this running game going. And it's not really just about the stats, but it's about committing to it and maybe getting these real game reps in play that could benefit you down the road when you first came in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and we need those reps from some of the guys behind. Those second team reps are what we really need. And I'm liking seeing what we're getting out of our second teamers. And I know it looked a little sloppy on the first 2 drives of the second half, especially on offense. But man, once they got going, we still finished. What did Sayin finish?
I mean, he
75%,
was
23,
23 of 31, 184 in a touchdown.
Yeah, still not bad stats. And he came out some of the time. He was gone midway through the third quarter.
Yeah, but that wasn't the game plan this week. If they wanted to get Julian Sayin 45 passes for 300 yards, they could have very easily. That's not the
Absolutely.
point. This game plan was around, let's get the run established, and then we'll complement the passer out. It's there. We know it's there. We'll get these guys some routes and some catches, but by and large, this was a running game plan, and they executed.
I got to show you guys this video. I'm all geeked out about this. Let's start this over from the beginning. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Dude, it's 41-10, and Lincoln Keenholz is out there just leveling people. Boom. How's the dirt taste? I absolutely love that play.
You and me are different, man. I expect that from anybody on my team. I don't want to see my quarterback ever doing that.
If it's your backup quarterback, do it. I love it. I actually, you know what? Forget it.
We just talked depth, man. We just talked depth. I don't ever want to see my quarterback doing that, especially in a game like that, especially at the 40-yard line. I think you kind of won me over a little bit last year with that Penn State, Will Howard. You're getting in the end zone, truck it. I'll give you that. Do not do that at the 40-yard line in a 31-point game at all.
If he's the starter,
actually. I'll tell you what, I would not feel good right now if I heard Keenholz couldn't play a game or two.
Yeah.
I would not feel good about that. That's actually, to me, that's actually a bad play. That's not a smart football play.
2 things. Well, let's make it 3. Dude's been sitting out all year. Knows he's got the talent. When you get in there, you got to do something to show out. You got to do something to make a play. You got to do something just to feel good about yourself. So confidence builder, number 1. Number 2, you're exerting your will on the other team. You are not saying, hey, I'm out here to play ball. If you're going to be on the field with me, you better bring it, or I'm going to bring it to you. I love that. I love that on anyone. If you're on the football field and you're going to bring it, coaches aren't going to, they might say, man, you probably should have stepped out of bounds. But they're not going to be like, dude, you can't ever do that again. There's no way. If he was a starter, maybe. But he's the backup, and he's exerting as well. Number 3, that gives you kind of a glimpse into what could be if you had a run package for Keenholz, and what happens if he comes in, and what the defenses are going to prepare for. Run. But did you see that deep out that he threw? They're going to be preparing for run every time he's in, but he can still sling it, man. I love seeing that. Absolutely love it.
He can, and let's be real. If he's going to transfer, right, he can start at a lot of places next year.
Yeah.
You got St. Clair. Like, we got to be very realistic. It's great to have him here this year. He's gone, and understandably so. He wants to be a starting quarterback, I'm sure. But that, again, you have to make smart football plays. You don't tell your quarterback, don't do that. You tell your quarterback you got to be smart when you're out there, because nobody wants their quarterback trucking people. I can tell you right now, Brian Daboll, that coach, well, then you're going to get fired. I mean, Brian Daboll for the Giants, obviously they had a lot of problems, but Jackson Dart, their first-round quarterback, taking way too many hits, especially plays like that, is concussed and he's out. And it's one of the reasons why the Giants pulled the trigger and fired him. You got to protect your quarterback. It's the same thing when there's a pick 6, right? You don't want your quarterback making a tackle. Yes, that's the football play. That's the whole grit, endure, and you want your guy to make that play. I don't. If I'm coaching my quarterback, I'm telling him, you stop running. You don't make that tackle. I need you. I need you big picture. These plays are fine, but I would be leery if I was a coach going after somebody like Lincoln and say, are you going to make those smart plays? Are you going to keep doing that? Because you're going to put yourself in harm's way. And the best ability you can give me is availability.
I see your point, but I immediately
that's different. Hey, to your point, any other person on the football field, hell, even my kicker, right? Put your head down, make a play, go at it.
You're a backup quarterback. Do your thing. Go ahead. Hit them, knock them down. Absolutely love it. Exert your will. That's what football is all about. If you're a starting quarterback and your thing is to sling it, step out of bounds. But his thing is, if I saw Julian Sayin doing that, I would be like, yo, dude, step out of bounds. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Don't take that hit. But Lincoln Keenholz, Iron Buckeye, dude's packed it on. He's ready to explode.
You don't know if you're going to need him. You don't know if you're going to need him.
Dude, he's not going to get hurt lowering his shoulder. That's like the quintessential football play. Like, you're just lowering your shoulder. Like, when the pads pop, when it looks like it hurts, that's when it really doesn't. It's those weird tweaky plays when you land wrong. That's when it hurts.
Nah, but it's a mindset. You
That's exactly what I'm talking about. The mindset to exert your will.
Yeah, but you do it once and you get all this praise and love for it. You start doing it again and again, and guess what? Someone's going to pop you. And
he's got green light. He's got the green light to do it. He's a backup quarterback. He's good. Go ahead, exert your will, man. Tell them, stay off the field. You don't belong on here with me. Imagine what that DB was thinking. Imagine that dude that ran under people's legs. Like, these guys are good. They were like in their head, we do not belong on the same field as these guys.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about.
That was established 5 minutes into the game.
Sure. But you keep it going. Making plays, they're going to make plays like this against other teams. You wait and see. When it's time to turn up the gas, they will. And what do you think happened at halftime? Because both the defense and the offense kind of came out flat. They gave up 10 points. They only gave up 50 yards at halftime, 50 total yards. And then they come back and they get 150 in the second half. I know they were playing some backups there and they got burnt a couple times because of that, and that's going to happen when you have some of the freshmen out there trying to make plays. They're still learning. It's good to see them out there getting those quality reps. But do you think that they were flat at half? Went in there and were just like, yeah, we got this game. No big deal. We're 10-0. They just didn't come out with hunger, it didn't look like.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I also think that's human nature where, especially when Ima Maliava was ruled out.
Yeah.
This is a true freshman making his first start in the shoe at night on a 3-6 football team. You're not going to lose by and large. And you know that. And you got out to a 27-0 lead at halftime. Yeah. And it's just the mentality of the fact that, hey, we got this. Let's close out the second half. Let's get on the Rutgers. I mean, they were on the Rutgers at halftime.
Sure. And hey, at least I got Buckeye Hicks in here with me.
Yeah.
Give me Lincoln. That's toughness. If that's his game, why play another's game? I'm with you all day. Yeah. All right. I need more of that in the locker room. Locker room's bringing it today.
This isn't machismo. This isn't about toughness. This is, again, the best ability is availability. That's what this is. And if you're looking at the way modern football is being coached, it's you don't want your quarterback doing those kind of things. NFL or college.
Yeah. Backups are backups. Sayin is definitely off with his timing and mechanics. Maybe he got tight at half and the younger wide receivers for timing. Yeah, it was timing. It had to have been timing. And it was like reading each other. You got to have that connection. And those connections are only developed through reps.
He was off pretty badly on a route to Jeremiah in that first half. I mean, it stuck out to me because we hadn't seen it all year. Yeah. So he was, but I do want to, if I'm going to critique him on that, I do want to counter by saying that back shoulder throw to Jeremiah on that first drive, I've been waiting for these back shoulder throws. They are unstoppable if they can start executing back shoulder throws, because you have two things now with Smith, where if he's going to beat you and he's got one-on-one coverage, okay, air it out to him. But if that corner is playing deep and maybe you have that safety over top and they're just giving you that big cushion, when it's even, you better, or right about even, you better be throwing that back shoulder throw. We saw that executed. Of course, Jeremiah made an amazing one-handed grab. But the concept around having that back shoulder throw now, that's going to be sitting in DB's minds.
For sure.
It's one of the hardest plays in football, in my opinion, to stop. It is very hard to stop.
I was just about to say this. Sayin completed 74% of his passes to stop the idiocy. Exactly. His bad day was 74%.
That's where we're at. No, that's where we're at in this Buckeye season. Is this is such an incredible football team playing at such a high level that we have to look for areas of concern. And if we're concerned, to the commenter's point, at 74% accuracy, I think we got a damn good quarterback.
Oh, for sure. No one's complaining about Sayin's Heisman. They were talking about it at halftime. It's his to lose. All he has to do is show up, show out in the last two games of the season, Michigan and the Big Ten championship game. And I've said it before.
Show up, just win.
It's additive, though. I said it before. Show up, show out. You still have to have some stats. Like if Mendoza goes off and loses, he probably still wins it.
Well, if Sayin wins out, then by default Mendoza does lose. And I don't care if Mendoza is putting 400 yards up in the last game of the season against Purdue or against Ohio State, theoretically. I don't care. I think Sayin goes about continuing his above. I don't even want to say 80 because that seems a little extreme. But if he's completing 80% of his passes down the stretch these last three games and he's putting somewhere in the ballpark of 200+ yards through the air, a couple touchdowns here and there, it doesn't even have to be eye-popping statistics. Just do that, win your games, and the Heisman is his, or should be his.
Yeah, only the first drive out of half and the second drive. It was a little bit concerning, because it was just something. Honestly, we're all spoiled. We're used to seeing 80, 82% from this guy, and we saw 74. So it's markedly different, but awesome all at the same time. Like if you would have told me at the beginning of the season, Sayin's going to end the season with 74% completion percentage, it was like national title. That would have been my first thought. And now we're complaining on a game that he has 74%. It's crazy how it develops, but that's Buckeye Nation for you, man. Once we get a little piece of excellence, we want more of it. And we want more of it, and we want more of it, and we expect it. And that's hard to shoulder for these guys. That's one thing that we all need to realize, man. The expectations on these guys, how they block out the noise and just focus on the team, that's impressive. What Day's built with that. Yeah, he was 5 of 10 after half. Just if you want to get that in there. So it was obvious. He was just so good before half that's what it boiled down to, really. 50% after halftime, not really good stats. But also, again, timing's off with different receivers. Jeremiah Smith's not out there. And guys were kind of running some routes that I think Sayin was thinking, all right, that's a go ball, you need to go, where they broke it off. And so there was at least 3 overthrows that I could think of.
Yeah, again, we're really nitpicking at this point, right?
Yeah, we're trying hard.
Especially again with Graham and Porter and Rogers in there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Sayin's game is timing, and that could be just a little bit off.
Mm-hmm.
I think my takeaway from the weekend too, watching Alabama, Oklahoma, and then watching Georgia and Texas is this lull in the schedule is a little frustrating to me. I want to see this team play against adversity. I want to see them play better competition, because right now I don't know if I have a good measuring stick on what this team can do. And I really hope that Michigan brings that really difficult test for them, because I want to see how this team reacts to adversity. And they haven't trailed. I mean, they trailed at Washington a little bit, and then they trailed at Purdue for a hot minute. But by and large, they have not. So I watched what Oklahoma did against Alabama in adversity. I watched what Georgia did against Texas. I mean, that game was close at halftime before they blew the doors off at the end. And now we're getting into this part where it's like, we're not going to learn that much next week from Rutgers. We're just not. And I cannot wait to see what happens against Michigan. And I mean, we want to beat Michigan for a myriad of reasons, but I really want to beat Michigan because I want that Big Ten championship game, because I want to see how this team plays on back-to-back weeks against really good competition, because that's what you're going to be staring down in the playoffs. And I harken back to Oregon last year. Oregon was 13-0. Watched a lot of Oregon football last year. They looked unstoppable. Didn't win one playoff game. And that's the problem when you don't have that adversity and you're not grinding down the stretch, and maybe you're not clicking in the right places. You get into late December and you lose one game and everything you wanted is done. 13-0 is irrelevant. So I want to see this team really get pushed and really get tested. Yeah,
and I think as Emily points out, it was decided 5 years ago, and
No, I get it. It
was a good schedule, really. You know, if Penn State doesn't fall off the cliff, and if Texas doesn't lose another couple games, if they go on and run the table in the SEC, schedule looks pretty darn good. Obviously, we didn't have Oregon, and there is nothing we can do. And I know Seattle knows this. It's just the frustration of not having some of those bigger games, marquee games towards the end of the season. It's like we started off hot and then we end hot. And everything else in between is not a challenge. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, definitely not a complaint on the schedule. And Emily's point, you can't control the Big Ten schedule, right? There's no control over that. So it's not a criticism or a complaint to anybody in particular. It's just this concept. I want to see this team be challenged, because right now I think it's really hard in this Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers stretch to start clicking, to getting your team mentally prepared. And I think your point around the second half a little bit, again, was still a great second half. Yeah, it scored them, 21-10. But it felt, to your point, like a little lackadaisical. And that's the problem when you start playing these kind of teams in November, is you kind of let your guard down a little bit. You slip on technique a little bit. You're not as polished. And I want to see what this team can do against really good competition.
But this was kind of the first time I've seen the team a little lackadaisical, like you say, all season. I haven't seen them come out in the second half and be like, eh. And I think it was more like the team gets deflated a little bit when starters out, when Jeremiah Smith is out, when a leader on the team, both physically, mentally, and just supernaturally, I guess would be a good way to describe it. Dude's a freak. When you have your freaks go out, it gets a little bit like, oh, all right, we're just going to go out here and finish it. Without thinking of that, that's just a mindset that comes in to any team, any good team, any group of individuals. When you're together and you lose a leader, you either rally, or if you're ahead like this, you're just like, whatever, we'll go out and finish this game. But that's also to another point, that all these games in between, last year you saw Nebraska give Ohio State a close game. There were teams that shouldn't have given Ohio State a game that did. We're not seeing that at all this year. Not once has there been a team creeping up, hanging in a game that shouldn't have been in the game. Maybe Penn State before half, I guess you could say that. But then they go and close the doors on that real quick coming out of half. This team is focused. They're driven. They've had basically one quarter, even I would give it the third and a little bit into the fourth quarter, that they were a little bit lackadaisical, and they were already up, blowing this team out of the water. So they had room to be. But let's get into that Michigan game, because we talked about it. It's upon us. 2 weeks away now. Holy crap. Scum is all mental. It was definitely all mental. And we're about to see what Day learned. Buckeye Hicks, he's like, Michigan will show us potential growth I believe Day has earned from the playoff run last year. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
No, I think Emily's point is spot on. This is the Michigan game is a mental toughness game. It has been a mental block for years. And now we want to see that true growth and maturation of this coaching staff. You're also going up against a good team. You're going up against a team that has a pathway to the playoffs by beating you. And, I think this game would have shifted dramatically if Northwestern hung on and won yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That I kind of hate to say this, but you want that Michigan game to be an all-out battle, because I want to see, has Coach Day, has the coaching staff truly matured and developed, because we haven't seen that at all, because it was the catalyst last year. Same with the team, right? I want them to go up against a team that has everything to lose. And Michigan, goes in that game with 2 losses. They have the Big Ten right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything right in front of them. So that's what I'm looking for in that test against Michigan. And to Emily's point, it is that mental. And that's what we're kind of talking about here is I'm not saying this team is slipping mentally or anything like that. I think maybe we're blowing the second half a little bit out of proportion. But at the same point, Coach Day has a really difficult job next week, because he has to keep his team focused. He has to keep his team prepared. And if he felt that anybody took their foot off the gas pedal yesterday, you got to squash that today.
Oh, yeah. And to your point, Michigan showed that they can respond to adversity. A game that close against Northwestern, like you said, hitting that field goal at the end, they have the kicker to do it. Where did we get beat last year? By field goals in the kicking game.
Yeah, Fielding missed 2 last year.
So interesting to see that Michigan does a really good job at making other teams play Michigan football. That's the best thing that they do. Ohio State needs to play Ohio State football and stay away from that power run game. Come out, guns a-blazing, get that ball in the air, quick passes with Julian Sayin, everything's going to be fine.
I agree. I agree, and I hate the fact that we're already jumping a week, but we kind of
have to.
Yeah, we are.
Do you want to talk Rutgers football? I don't.
I do not. No.
I didn't even know New Jersey existed until they got on our schedule.
That's fair.
As far as the college football world, Shiano's what made Rutgers back into an average team or slightly good team. And now, he's there trying to do it again. That's a difficult spot for Shiano to be in. But let's stop talking about Rutgers.
Thank you.
Let's talk more scum. Actually, you know what? We'll change the course. Let's talk about Gabe Van Sickle. He had a hell of a game. They were talking about it on the broadcast too. They pointed it out and showing how he was getting nasty playing in that guard. I thought he looked pretty good myself. Some of these backup guys getting in there look really good, which makes me wonder what is actually wrong with Padilla, because he was just starting to shine. Everyone was really rooting for him to be the starting right guard. And all of a sudden he's been out a couple weeks. So I hope that's not a big injury. I really do, because that's someone where you need in a stretch run for sure.
That's what we saw last year, right? With rotation along the line, people playing out of position. Now, last year was driven by injury, but that does happen. You have to be ready for these things, and getting these kind of reps, I think, are incredibly valuable.
For sure. Worry about that tunnel with Iggy and Matthews. They'll be all right. And to Doug's point, Jalen McClain showing some leadership, really. Jalen McClain is turning it on, too. I can't wait to see him continue to shine. It also brings the wood, too, man. He's been laying people out. Jalen McClain almost got that interception, too, to prevent the touchdown. I wish he would have had that, man. That would have been nice.
He's been balling out recently.
He kind of gets overshadowed a little bit, too, just because, right next to Caleb Downs, you don't hear his name a lot, which is good for a DB. But when he comes downhill, he's bringing it, man.
I thought Lorenzo Stiles played a great game on multiple fronts. Obviously, the kickoff return, right? But there was that third down play on that first drive. I think they were running outside, or maybe it was the second drive. I can't recall. But it was like 3rd and 12, and they got outside. And it almost looked like on that run that they were going to pick up that first down. And you just see number 3 flying into the picture. Incredible angle on that running back, and take what could have been a first down and made it like 4th and 4. So I saw that. As soon as I saw that, I'll be very honest, I had to look up who number 3 was, because I thought the play was unbelievable. It just didn't click in my mind right away. So I saw him flying around the field quite a bit. Obviously, the kickoff return was incredible, but but just even on the defensive front too, he played a heck of a game, and he was tied for second on the team in tackles. So just really credit to his play, and that's just it's a name that we haven't talked about much this year, but certainly showed up in a positive way on defense and special teams.
For sure. The communication between guard and center has been the issue. Missed assignment. Looked better, but subpar D-line for UCLA today. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. Man, Kenyatta Jackson just slipped through that line playing tackle. I thought that was really interesting to how fast he moved between that guard and center. When you talk about D-line, it made me think of our D-line and how good they are. We don't bring that up enough. We're just getting so used to this team holding other teams to under double digits that, man, we overlooked at how good this defense is every single week. This is a historical defense. They bring it up. And I know we talk about it. We just don't talk about it enough, because I think offense always gets the highlights. They always get the attention. And a lot of times it's my fault. You've brought me around to this, how good this defense is, that we got to talk about the defense. We got to talk about what these guys are doing. And, man, K-Mac's on a different level. You see that one replay where they showed him pushing the center back and making the tackle. That is play after play after play. Dude, do not run it up the middle. They ran it up the middle on a 4th and short. This is not a team you run it up the middle against in short yardage situations.
Yeah, I thought the play calling there on a couple 4th downs and shorts, and you're running it up the middle.
Not on this team, man. This is what this team's known for. Did they not watch any film in the last 2 years?
I did question that a little bit. I know you got a true freshman quarterback, but to me, I play action. I roll them out and take my chances that way, as opposed to trying to run up the middle.
Yeah. I agree with Doug. We'll go back to this. Gabe Van Sickle was getting to the second level over and over and over again. It's going to be nice to see some of these young guys shine still. And that all 22, like Emily said, I'm going to love to watch that. Oh, yeah, the flag. Yeah, that is nice. I like the flag behind you. I was going to mention that.
Thank you.
It was a bare wall last week. Just moved into that office?
I did, and spent a few days in here. Saw all the things hanging around. It was driving me nuts. So yesterday I had the TV on and hung everything. Yeah. That's a very old
coming alive, boy. Oh, yeah, he is.
He was, and he was getting the crowd into it too, you really felt like he was in that game, just physically, mentally in that game.
Yeah, he's starting to fit into that number 97, isn't he?
Yes, but
yeah.
I mean, again, I think this was a go out, take care of business type game, and we want that same next week. I think we're all just eager to get to a week from now.
Oh, yeah.
But we as fans and people, we're allowed to do that, to your point. You know, this is where I think Coach Day is really going to have to grind this team this week. This is the week that I really want that grinding coming in. I want the yelling. I want the critiquing every misstep, every breath you take that's wrong. This is the week you do that, because I think I'm really interested again when you get into Michigan week. If there's any tweaks or changes. I mean, we're not going to see that, right? We're not going to see that in practice or anything like that, but really interested to see how he approaches that week this year as compared to years past.
If there are any, what would you suspect?
If there are any what?
Twist or wrinkles or changes
To Michigan week?
Yeah.
I would downplay the concept personally. I would say the mantra they've had all season is the mantra I want for the Michigan game is we don't care about the opponent. We're going to play our football. What do we want to do? How do we get better each play? And I would honestly focus that week on how are we going to execute against a nameless, faceless opponent. That would be my approach to this. And they've had that approach all year where it doesn't matter what team they're playing. It's, hey, we got to get better. We got to execute our plays. We got to do what we need to do. Stop worrying about the name and the logo. Just go play your brand of football. And if they play their brand of football, then it is. I almost, want to downplay the whole Michigan week concept.
Yeah, if Edric Houston can play closer to his ceiling, combine that with K-Mag, good night opponents in the run game.
Boy, are you right?
Edric is starting to come alive too. I didn't see a lot from him this game. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that, but his thing has been consistency, like learning to play inside. He's still kind of getting used to changing positions from the outside to playing D tackle. And once he really gets that down and is playing without thinking, again, that's what a lot of this is. These guys all have the talent. You saw it with Reese from last year to this year. Like once he started playing without thinking, he knew where he was supposed to be and what he was supposed to do. It's see ball, get ball. You go get it. And you just instincts take over. You need 10,000 reps to be excellent at anything. And getting those 10,000 reps when you're changing position is hard. That's why like guys like Sonny Styles coming back from playing safety to coming up to playing in the middle of the field at linebacker, it's completely different. And him to take that on so quickly has been nothing but excellent. Ryan Day is quick to mention that too when you talk about Sonny Styles. And then you see Arvell Reese playing on the edge too. When he needs to, he pushes a 300-pound guy out of the way. We can't say more about this defense. We need to say more.
I mean, what you're seeing from Arvell Reese on the field is it's a meteoric rise. And I compliment that with the fact that you start looking again. I understand mock drafts are mock drafts, right? And you really don't start to get a lot of feel for these until February, March, after combine, after a lot of things. But the fact that you're seeing with credible mock drafters, Dame Buger with the Athletic, you're seeing Mel Kiper as well too. You're seeing them put Arvell Reese in the top 10 at a middle linebacker. That is incredible. Just the rise of Arvell Reese, and now he is grabbing that attention of scouts, of people who do these mock drafts, who are understanding that. And again, that doesn't happen at all. that you see a middle linebacker rise to that level, especially somebody who was completely off the radar at the beginning of the season. I remember back late August, we were talking to Anthony Hill with Texas. He was kind of believed at that time to probably be the best middle linebacker in the country. So he already started out at that high level. He's kind of tapered off a little bit, but Arvell Reese came out of absolutely nowhere and is proving to be arguably one of the best defensive players in the country. And these mock drafts and these scouts are starting to agree with that.
Reese is a legend. A lot of great linebackers in Buckeye lore, but this dude's got talent and may be the best. When you see him in the NFL, I believe you're going to see that. This kind of one and done thing at Ohio State, you bide your time, you see the field for a year, and then you're gone to the NFL in the top 10. What kind of selling point is that for recruits? It's
tough. It's a tough selling point, actually, because you're getting a lot of recruits that want to come in early. And again, this is how Nick Saban built that dynasty during his era, the 6 championships in 12 years. He built it because there was no transfer portal. He could go out and pluck the 5 to 4 stars everywhere, have 2 or 3 deep at every position and say, shut up. You're going to sit for 2 years. You're going to play for 1 year. You're probably going to go to the NFL, and that's it. That is almost impossible to do nowadays with the transfer portal. If you're a 4-star, to tell a 4-star you're going to sit 1 or 2 years and wait your turn is really hard to fathom. And
I don't think you're telling them that necessarily. You're saying, look, these are the circumstances. You could come in, and if you're good enough, if there's not a person in front of you going to the NFL, you're going to play. See Jeremiah Smith, see Caleb Downs, see Julian Sayin. But if you have to wait, if you are stuck in the depth chart, guess what? You're going to make it to the NFL after 3 years of sitting in behind some NFL future stars, and you're going to be that star. It's only going to take you 1 year of seeing the field, no matter what happens at Ohio State, to make it to the next level. 1 year of seeing the field, you're going to the pros, and you're probably going to go pretty damn high. Like Emily said, the longer you stay, the longer you can play at the next level. That should be their mantra.
Yeah,
that's actually nail on the head. Really good. I might steal that.
She hit the nail on the head. The problem is, and don't want to just say with 22-year-olds, it's across the board with humans, lacking patience, right? Do you have that patience to say, I'm going to put in the work, I'm going to grind. I may not see the field the way I think I should be seeing the field, but that mantra she's talking about of you come in here, you work your tail off, we're not going to guarantee you anything. We're not even sure after 2 years you're going to see the field the way you want. But look at the stories we're telling with these guys, the Arvell Reese, K-Mac in a lot of ways, that you get that term, you get that year, and you've grinded for a couple years. You can shoot up draft boards. You can achieve that ultimate goal. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for kids. It's tough for any humans at any age to that kind of patience to say, put in the work. You're not going to see the reward right away, but you have to have patience, and you will.
And to Buckeye Hicks' point, it's the difference in the type of guy we're recruiting. The culture that Day's built, they are doing a complete kind of background check on these guys. They want to know their family. They want to know their coaches. They want to know their friends, want to know about them. Is this the type of guy that's going to keep working to overcome adversity? Does he have a good family, a good support system? That's huge. What kind of support system do you have? Who's going to be there to help you through these rough times so that you don't get homesick, so that you don't feel like you got to give up? Because they know that they need to keep these guys. They want to develop them. That's, there's I want to say, to use this word, an overindulgence of rewarding the guys who stay. These guys are making a lot of money when they stay. You get in here, you're going to get paid one way or the other. Bide your time, get paid, next man up mentality. They have more of a team approach than some of the other schools. You talk about the transfer portal and what it's doing to college football. It is sort of that way at a lot of schools, but it's not that way at Ohio State. They're not losing guys in the portal. They're gaining. They're getting net gains every year. And it's, some of the best players you can possibly get. And they don't even need it. Like Onyeonwa came in. We all thought he was going to be the starter. But guess what? You got an Ohio boy that transfers in from Minnesota, wants to play, shows out. And now they're getting those guys. They're going after those Ohio boys, to your point and to Buckeye Hicks' point. They're going to develop those guys because there was a lot of those guys getting away. And you need that Ohio core to show these guys, first of all, what it means to be a Buckeye. Second of all, what that game means. You need those guys there because it's just another game to people unless they've grown up with it, unless they've known it for their whole life. You need some of those guys to kind of, almost brainwash people to realize what it means to be an Ohio State Buckeye, what it means to be in this rivalry game. You're going to see that this year, and you're going to see it years upon years. And these guys coming in. What's weird about it is the Texas boys always seem to know what it means to be an Ohio State Buckeye, what it means to work hard, what it means. Like their culture just fits with Ohio culture for some reason or another. Talk about Pettijohn, talk about Alford. They're coming up, and that Pettijohn hit, wow. He blitzed right up the middle and took the quarterback out. Like, he's the type of guy that he's going to bide his time. He's probably going to see the field next year a lot, with Reese going pro, Sonny going pro. Riley Pettijohn's going to be the main dude. So he didn't have to wait too long. If you're good enough, you're going to see the field. And if you have to wait for whatever reason, you're going pro. Those are selling points to me.
Yeah. But you talk about the Texas boys, coming in here and fitting into the culture. The culture is your number one passion, football.
Mm-hmm.
You eat, drink, and sleep it. Are you a gym rat? Are you studying film? Are you doing everything around football? Or is it prestige, partying, money, all these other factors? And that's where I think you're seeing again in the recruiting portal is you don't have to have the number one recruiting class in the country. I don't care about the stars. I don't care about all these other things. What you're seeing with this program now is you're getting your 5 stars here and there. You're getting a lot of 4 stars. Maybe they're not ranked as high as some of these other schools, but you can really see them weeding out. Are you passionate about football? Because there are guys in college football you can call out right now that say they're clearly doing this for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing it for love of the game. And the NFL will sniff that out too in a heartbeat. The good NFL teams will. The bad ones won't. They'll just look at talent on tape. So I think what Coach Day is building here is, again, this culture around, are you football obsessed? Are you doing everything around football? Are you working every day to be better? Because when you come to Ohio State, the ultimate goal beyond winning national championships is get you NFL ready. To have a draft like we had last year where you had 14 guys going into the draft. That is something, it's not a consistent thing, but that's a goal you're striving for every year is, can we get double-digit players into the draft every single year and then a next man up mentality?
For sure. And it's not just that. Like, I agree with the football part of it. It's all football all the time, but it's off the field. Like, Day talks about that red line. Step it over that red line, you got to turn it on right now. The switch has to be on. But once you cross back over, you need to be a quality citizen and human being. And you saw it a lot in the preseason when you had Coach Locke talking about it. What am I doing for these guys as a head coach or as a running back coach, as their position coach? I'm not just teaching them the game of football because eventually that football is going to deflate. I'm teaching about being model citizens, what they're going to do after football. And just that long-term approach, like it is truly a brotherhood, a family atmosphere. And they're bringing in the guys that want to commit to the brotherhood, want to do something bigger than just themselves, want to do something bigger than just the game of football. Awesome to see because it works. The rewards are in football too. when you build yourself as a human being, you're also building yourself as a football player. That's why football is such a great game.
Yeah, and Mika's comment, spot on. By the way, checked out your show earlier this week. You and TG do a hell of a job. So go check them out, the Ohio Podcast. Great show. But culture wins championships. It is absolutely right. You look throughout sports, everybody talks about chemistry in the locker room. Name your team sport. They talk about it. Nobody can quantify it. Nobody can understand it. But it's this culture. It's this chemistry that you build and cultivate, and it's really tough because it's more art than science. And what they are doing, this coaching staff, to your point, is you're bringing in the right 4 stars, not
Correct.
the highest number, the best. You're bringing in the right 4 stars that love the game of football inside and out. You try to filter as best as you can for quality human beings. Not everyone's perfect. You do the best you can there, but you're bringing these people in, and then what they're doing on that practice field, on that game field, that's that love and passion for football. But to your point, being that good human being, teaching you how to be an amazing adult all around is what this coaching staff is also doing. And it is extremely difficult nowadays with the internet, with social media, with everything at everyone's disposal. Everyone can find out every single thing they want to about you. They can identify you. They know where you're at. And the target's never been bigger on these kids' backs. And to see this team show just maturity and professionalism on and off the field is an ultimate testament to the coaching staff and to these players.
For sure. This is awesome. But we got to get back into Michigan. That's the game that we need to beat. We need to show that culture against them. We need to play with our culture and put our culture on the field through the air. Sorry, I had to flip scripts, man. I want to get back on this Michigan thing. The culture thing's great, but I want to beat Michigan so bad.
I mean, this is where we're at now. And again, we show playing this out. We weren't going to talk an hour of breaking down UCLA football, right? And again, I think this is where we as fans, you got through Purdue, you got through UCLA. I understand Rutgers is next Saturday, but we can start looking at that Michigan game. And I remember telling you last year, before we really knew the maturation and development of Coach Day. But for the last few years, even prior to last year, I kept saying it looked like Ryan Day wasn't having any fun. He wasn't having any fun coaching. And I said the same thing after the game last year. It looked like he was having no fun whatsoever. I'm not saying he's giggling and smiling on the field this year, but it is come across, or it's felt like he's very comfortable.
He's enjoying the process.
He's enjoying the process. That's a great way of describing it. Thank you. And that's what I want to look at in this Michigan game, where you almost wanted to scream at him, hey, go have fun. Beating Michigan is fun. Executing your game plan is fun. Stop worrying about the name and the logo and all these other things. That takes care of itself if you go out and execute your brand of football.
Yeah, go do creative game planning, creative play calling. That's what Ryan Day's really good at, and dissecting matchups and hitting the right open receiver and teaching the quarterback when to get the ball out. You saw him ripping on Sayin sometimes this past week.
Yeah.
And then Sayin smiling on the sidelines at one of them. I don't know if I like that or not, but like, it's kind of like, all right, I did that wrong. I've been so good. Like, give me a break. Or if it was like, yeah, I just got chewed out on national television. I don't know what the smile was, but I thought that was interesting to see. And then he gets ripped on again, and he had a little bit different approach.
Yeah, again, this is where, from a coaching perspective, you're going to start nitpicking things a little bit, and maybe you do get that edge, but it comes from a place of, I want you to be elite, and that's where I think this team and this culture is saying, yeah, we're going to hold ourselves accountable whenever I take the wrong step, whenever I make the wrong read, whenever I don't take the right angle. These are little ticky-tack things, but in order to be a national championship team, you have to execute on these. And that's where I think Coach Day gets to solidify that message this year, because he gets to go back to last year and say, we went back to the drawing board. We knew what we needed to do in a 4-game stretch, and we went out and executed. So my message rings true, because if you do what this coaching staff says, you can win a national title. We proved it last year.
You know what? There's a lot of good points in here in the locker room. So Day sees the mistakes and they can cost them big games. Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Also, what Buckeye Hicks puts in here, let me see if I can get back up. Matt P's personality, his professionalism, his discipline, but joyous personality is everywhere. I'm 100% in agreement with this statement. He's given Day a chance to relax a little bit, because number one, he doesn't have to fight the inter-coaches conflict that I think that they had last year. No matter if they want to admit it or not, they had some conflict between the defensive coordinator, the D-line coaches, and what their scheme was going to be all about. This year, everyone's bought in. They're like friends. Like, they could go out and have a drink together. They can order in a pizza together and have a great time. And I think they do some of that. Like, they build a relationship. But when it's time to be professional, they're as professional as it gets. When it's time to be jolly, going around giving everyone a hug after the game and having a good time, or sitting down and talking after practice just about life, they do that. And it's more of a family atmosphere rather than I'm going to separate myself and no one can come talk to me. My door's always open. Come on in. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, it's a great summation with all this. I think culture, whether you want to use the word family or culture, I think they're interwoven in this discussion. And I think they have built that here. But now, again, this is where I'm looking for that next iteration of you built this culture. You're now 10-0. You've got everything clicking right now. And I'm saying this with Indiana, the same I'm saying it with Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Your true character shows when you face adversity.
Yep.
I want to see this team face adversity. We saw it last year. You lost that game. They planted a flag on your field. How do you respond from adversity? They proved it. This team is different.
You just gave me chills saying that. How did they respond to adversity? They planted a flag on your field. Then you come back and win it all.
Yeah.
Holy hell. That's
I'll
culture,
go to my grave convinced that them putting that flag on our field was exactly the catalyst we needed to win a national title. I think it was, because it showed, hey, this is not acceptable. Every single aspect of the last 4 hours of that game was unacceptable. Pre-game, game, post-game. How are you going to respond?
Mm-hmm.
They showed it. They absolutely showed it. And that's, again, I want to see that. You and I joked, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were almost joking, like, we actually want maybe an L this year. Not the Michigan, right? But just somewhere else, just to see how this team responds to adversity, because an L is not going to knock you out of anything, to be honest. So that's where we're at. At this point, I don't want an L. I kind of want to keep the train rolling. I don't want anything bad happening in Rutgers, and we certainly need that W in Ann Arbor for a lot of reasons. But I'm just curious to see, and where the adversity I think could be best would be that Big Ten championship game, because there's not as much on the line. I look at Michigan and I look at every playoff game and say there's a hell of a lot on the line. Prefer to just win those games. But that Big Ten championship game, you're going up against probably the number 2 team in the country. And yes, you don't want to have this mindset, but we as fans can have this mindset. You slip up and lose that game, so what? Doesn't derail you from your ultimate goal, doesn't derail from anything. So really curious to see how this coaching staff plays these next few weeks.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Emily, I want to see this picture of Matt Patricia using his pencil, taking notes.
Oh, he does.
That's a quality picture.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, I want to see adversity. I don't want to see them lose. I'm at the point where
not anymore.
Losing a game is past us.
That's why we said it was okay in October to have that discussion. I think
maybe the Washington game. or something like that. I know I didn't want to, but like losing that might have been beneficial to the team to have that one loss to be like, get this taste out of our mouth and let's go. But now those days are long gone. We got to win every game from here on out.
They really are at this point.
And it was also like, one of those, it was like said in jest, we don't really want them to lose, obviously, but we got to get this monkey off our back. You're right. It's time to put the Wolverines down. I'm tired of hearing them talk too, man. It's just disgusting listening to Big Noon Kickoff. I can't even watch that show.
Yeah. Why are you?
I don't. But I see the clips of it. I see the clips of it on Twitter every now and then, and X, whatever you want to call it. Oh, Mika has been in here once or twice asking us about joining their show. So Tuesday to record, they record it. They don't do it live. So it would have to be kind of late for me, at least, because I'll be coaching wrestling at night on Tuesday. So up to you, man.
Yeah, we can figure off show, but I'd love to again.
Yeah, I'll email you, Mika, and we'll know for sure.
Yep.
Figure out a time. It'll probably have to be later in the evening.
I just want to say this, man. The next time you and I talk, will be Michigan week.
Oh, shit. You're right. Damn, I didn't even think about that. And guess whose birthday it'll be on Michigan week? Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns 20.
That's insane. That's insane.
The dude is like an adult now. He had to grow up quick. He can't even go grocery shopping in Columbus.
No, he can't. I mean, I'm convinced that if he was draft eligible and he came out, he'd be the number one pick in the draft.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
At 20 years old. That is incomprehensible.
I don't think we're going to see him or Tate next week.
Which is fine. I've always, in these kind of games, I always lean to the fact that if you're not 100%,
yeah,
I'll get somebody else.
Yeah. We don't want to lose them for the Michigan game.
Exactly. And I know there's always a debate around that. Okay, you're 90%, go out and play. You'll probably be fine. You can't just sit out every game kind of thing and rest up. But
nice.
I agree. If Tate still feels a little tweak in that hamstring and Jeremiah maybe needs a week to recover, it's okay. You're going to grind here. You're looking at, after Rutgers, you're still looking at 5 more games.
Is there any aspect of Ohio State's game that you're worried about Michigan at all?
Mental.
That's it.
That's where I'm worried. You look back at the last 4 years, and I would say one of those 4 years, I could convince myself Michigan had more talent than Ohio State on the field. Then, what was it, 2 years ago? Hutchinson, the championship team. I think that team had a lot of talent on it. And I think Michigan winning that game, it just kind of made sense to me. All the other years, it didn't make sense to me. And that tells me that it's mental. And that was the same with last year. They were missing Loveland. They were missing Johnson, cornerback. They were depleted already of talent, and then they had 2 key injuries. On paper, that game's not even remotely close. Why they won it, it's mental. So how is Coach Day going to overcome the mental aspect of this and execute at their level and not worry about the game? Worry about playing Ohio State football. This
is a good point, Buckeye Hicks. I do feel like Shiano is going to cook up some crazy plays and some crazy drives where, maybe it won't matter, but they're going to get a score or two or a situation where they get the ball back on a onside kick or something, or a fake punt where it shouldn't have happened, but it does. Shiano knows, and he's always kind of been like that, especially against Ohio State. He's got to cook up something to make this more of a level game. And so I do worry about that a little bit, because you just got to have your team ready. But you see it, like, even at the end of the game, Ohio State's like, you saw Saying out on the sidelines, we're going for one. Like the team knows, hey, we just need the extra point. We don't need two. Like they're rallying everyone. Like when you see the fake field goals and things like that. I can't remember which game it was where they had a fake field goal attempt against them and they stopped it. I think it was Washington, but I can't remember. It may have been. It was an away game, and I can't remember who it was. But anyway, there was a fake field goal, and they stuffed it out and they stopped it. I'm pretty sure it was Washington.
I think that was a bad snap.
I
don't think it was a fake field goal. I think it was Washington, but I think it was a bad snap. It was a fire drill. They stopped it. But honestly, that to your point, that's exactly what I want if I'm Ohio State, is I want to go in there and say, hey, Schiano understands there's a difference here in talent. So he's going to try to compensate for that through trickeration, which means I need your head in every single play, looking for reverses, looking for flea flickers, looking for all these things. Every special teams play, you got to be ready. That's actually a good thing because it gets you mentally dialed into that game.
Wisconsin had the fake punt.
Got it.
I can remember which game that was. Yep.
Didn't they execute on that, though?
Yeah, they did. That's what I'm trying to say. They're prepared. They're ready. Oh, you mean Wisconsin? Yeah, Wisconsin did.
Yeah, Wisconsin executed.
No, it was one they stuffed them. It was a fake field goal. I'm pretty sure it was Washington.
I'm pretty sure that Wisconsin fake punt, they got
they did, and they executed it. You're right.
Yeah. I don't recall that field goal, but that's again where it's really good with a team that wants to do that kind of stuff. And I hope Schiano pulls out 5 trick plays because you're going to see the discipline of the defense and the discipline of the special teams.
For sure. I just wanted to bring this up real quick. We have this model going on. It's a merit-based model. And Brian Buckeye Stats is putting this together, and it is almost spot on for almost every game. So it's something that you need to check out. He does it before the game. He does it after the game. He had this projected at 46-7. Game ended up at 48-10. Just computer-based model based on everything they've done all season. And it's getting better and better as we go. The very first one he did, was Louisville over Miami, and it predicted it. It's got a lot of spread busters in there too, so something worth checking out. Definitely follow Brian Buckeye Stats, and we talk about it every Wednesday on our show too, so check it out. Definitely worth checking out. I did put college football backers it's cfbackers.com in the chat, so go check out our articles. I should have one probably posted today, just the recap of the game. Until next time, until it's officially Michigan week, we will not see Seattle Madigan unless it's Tuesday night on the Illuminati podcast.
I will try. Let's get our peoples talking.
Yeah. I'll email you. I saw that email this week. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. Just got a little busy, and I will get your hat out, Mika. It, kind of got lower on my priority list, unfortunately, but I'll get to the mailbox soon and get that out to you. All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, everyone that showed up in the locker room. Emily, I believe that this was probably the first time because I don't remember comments as fire as Emily's before. And everyone that joins us in the chat, man, this locker room is on fire today. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. God bless everyone. And as always, go Bucks. Time to end the show. Peace.